Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rick Kidd, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, from the Skeleton Realms, he's the Lord Skeleton himself, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's going on?
Nothing much. Let's get this show on the road. I think we got some news that we can have fun with.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, what's shaking?
Not too much. Let's have some fun.
Oh, we're ready to have some fun with this baby. All right.
Lance, hit him with the email.
It's joe@squadronsrun.com.
That's nice. I like that.
All right.
Okay, I'll say it again. It's joe@squadronsrun.com.
Okay. You know what's funny? Before we actually started, I actually waited a whole week just to hear that.
Maybe we can just get a little sound bit. We can just send it to you every now and then.
Yeah, right. It's bad enough when I do game streams, and if they're populated with a lot of people showing up, it's funny because I would get somebody like Terry3G or somebody else will pop in, and they'll say at SkullDreamsRealm.com. I'm like, God damn it.
There's no escaping it, Joe. There's no escaping it. Well, on to the news. It looks more and more like Jade Cargill is in fact going to the WWE. BWI Insider is reporting that Jade Cargill's contract is up and has been training in the Performance Center as early as this week. I actually went over to the AEW's website, and she is not on the roster. The Insider also stated that Cargill is expected to go right to the main roster rather than spend time some NXT. Further, Tony Khan stated that he's happy for Jade, and she's an excellent wrestler, and will always be welcome back to AEW. Joe, let me ask you this. Cargill going right to the main roster, is that a good idea or a bad idea?
No, absolutely. It's a great idea, at least for her. You know, the biggest thing here is she pulled an AJ Styles. She just ran past NXT and went straight in there. They recognize her worth. And they see, you know, she's not going to be a technical whiz like Charlotte. She's not going to be, you know, like really that fluent like as Becky Lynch when it comes to promos. But you got to start somewhere. And she's already proved herself in AEW. She's also done, look at the cosplays that she's done when she wrestles. She dresses up as different characters. So there's a marketing aspect to her right there. Honestly, I think WWE is going to take full advantage until they burn her out. And the true test, guys, is who's going to be her first opponent.
Absolutely. Lance, your thoughts about Jade going to WWE?
Well, I think it might be if she has to go down a little bit later, a little time in NXT might not do her any harm because let's face it, AEW was her first promotion. But here's the thing. My thing is, will her name be Jade Cargill in the WWE?
You know what? I'm having a bet that it will be. I don't think, WWE is funny like that. Sometimes you see wrestlers go in with that same name. Other times you see wrestlers that they change a name. Her first name will certainly be Jade. But Joe, what's your take on that? Will it be Cargill, or do you think that WWE might change it?
Well, it all depends right now what kind of negotiation she does, because she owns the name. It's her name. So what we might see, honestly, is them come up with maybe a different last name. You know, who knows what it is. You know, the way WWE also, here's something funny too, and it just came to me. Who knows? They can even recycle a name. They might call her Jay Banks or something like that.
I don't think it'll be Jay Banks.
I don't have a ring to it.
But
but they might come up with something that you never know. WWE, when they want to do something, and right now, if this was a Vince McMahon controlled creative thing, they might try to do something. But hopefully, they realize her worth as who she is, and decide, okay, you know what? She's going to be Jade Cargill, and that's it. I think that's a safe play for her.
I'd like to take this time to welcome Terry3G into the chat room. Excuse me. And Terry 3G pointed out about how Jade did have a cryptic post saying, "I'm not saying I'm seeing green, but I'm saying seeing green, which is which might be a brand. So, could we see Jade Green?"
Oh, that's horrible.
It's horrible, but and even Terry said that'd be stupid otherwise. But again, he's agreeing that it should stay as Jade Cargill. Let's just see what happens. Hopefully, for the best. Now that TKO's merger is finalized, over 100 WWE employees were let go. And this is, of course, the higher ups more in other different divisions of the company that's no longer of purpose. And this, of course, left the morale at an all-time low. Nick Khan sent out emails saying that the releases are done, and while the roster is still on edge about the releases, most of them are comfortable saying as long as Triple H is still running creative and Vince is not. But unfortunately, anybody watches past week's Raw, that's not the case. But I want to get back to this finalizing of merger with Endeavor, Joe. Now, obviously, we expected people to be fired. That was no shock. So, how do you think WWE is going to go on forward, moving on with this?
Well, they're going to look at the talent. If this was me, they're going to look at a lot of cost cutting. They're going to see what really is their market. Can they really make money off of certain people? And knowing that there's another company out there, I don't think they're really into that. You got to remember, Nick Khan now is mostly in charge. While Vince does have some power, Nick Khan really is the creative force with that. And I forgot his last name, but Ari, oh God, I can't remember. Thank you. He's going to look to see how they can make as much money to recoup that money they put out to buy WWE. So cost cutting is going to happen. You're going to see a lot of people who possibly are in a sense that they are so back. They've been on the injured wagon for so long. They got to get them out. You're going to look at people like Mandy Rose, is it Mandy Rose or is it the other? The one that always has to.
Mandy's been gone.
Yeah, she's been gone for like.
No, I'm talking about the other one, the one that cries all the time, and I forgot her name.
Oh, Liv Morgan.
You're talking about Morgan. Her. Yeah, that's a waste right there. They can get rid of her. So,
as over as she is, hell no.
Oh, she's great for porn. Come on now. She as a worker. As a worker.
Come on, half the wrestlers in WWE agree for porn. Let's not, cut corners here.
Except Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. We don't want that type of thing.
Everybody has their kinks.
Okay. And if you're Shayna Baszler, you obviously love the type of porn that you like banging your face against a truck. So.
All right, Lance. Your thoughts about the final merger between TKO and the mass firings that was in the higher ups of the company?
Well, I mean, thank God that the era of Vince fucking wrestling up is over. But the mass firings, okay, that's just a fact of life when two companies that merge. It's just what happens, because I mean, you get redundancies and all that. Now, I do expect some releases on the roster to happen, because everybody forgets there was no spring cleaning of the roster this year after WrestleMania because the purchase happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, do I expect more releases of wrestlers in the future? Absolutely. I'd be, naive to say otherwise, but I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow, hypothetically. So.
Well, and Rick, the main thing that we are noticing from all this is that the next breakout stars are not there anymore. Like we've already seen Becky Lynch's, we've already seen the Charlottes, we've already seen everybody be done to death. now it comes to a point where, it's time to clean out that roster and who could capture the audience. Well, it's kind of odd to see like Becky Lynch be NXT Women's Champion. It's like you're sending her back down.
No, I actually, if I can interject on that with thought for a second, I think they did that intentionally, not as a punishment to Becky, but I think as for Becky to work with all the younger, like crowds to NXT to bring those up. I think that was the reason. They did that with Seth Rollins a couple of months ago, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's intentional. I don't think it's a punishment by any means. But go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, when it comes to stuff like that, we would have to literally see where how's this all work. And also the other thing is they probably needed more ratings for NXT. So that was probably another reason that Becky went down there.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's great when you have because she is now considered a veteran. So we'll see how, I'm guessing that WWE and Nick Khan and Ari and all these people are looking at the next breakout stars. Because let's face it, there's no one in WWE, in my opinion, and you guys, I would like to know what you think. There is, when they have to bring The Rock back, that shows me there isn't anybody in that all rosters, that can capture the imagination to bring you make you come back. Like, I don't feel invested in coming back to wrestling. I don't feel invested in watching a WWE product. It's not like, and I'm spoiled because I know, like, if it's not Hogan, Macho Man, Flair, or somebody, they capture me. They capture my attention. Dusty interviews, Road Warriors trashing people, Horsemen and all that stuff, the on and on. You look at the roster today, besides Roman Reigns going, moo, and that's it, and Seth Rollins laughing at every little thing in the world, there's really no one that captures their imagination. Maybe Cody, but Cody's gotten stale already.
Yeah, Terry 3G actually pointed out, I actually watched most of NXT last night. Looks like a bunch of jobbers, low-level indie workers. Nothing that stands out that used to be in the main brand. Yeah, even the video production is crap. So, again, like I said, I used to like NXT before they moved it up to TV. When it was on the network, I thought it was great. It was a 1-hour show. I could run over, watch it. It was worth watching. And now it's like I don't even bother. I could care less about it. But let's move on. Again, we talked about The Rock, who made his return this past Friday on SmackDown. And it's for years there were rumors that The Rock is going to be facing Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Before his return, The Rock stated in an interview that he would be interested in facing Reigns at WrestleMania 40, which is Philadelphia, next year. Now, don't get me wrong, I love The Rock. When he comes around, you got to love his promos, But I don't think I want to see The Rock wrestle for a whole year and then dethrone Roman Reigns, who's like right now the longest reigning champion. Lance, what does that say about today's roster?
Yeah, they definitely need to work on building other people up. But here's the thing about why I think they brought The Rock back. Or at least if it's just a one-time pop, it's a one-time pop. If they're working for a thing while the strike in Hollywood's going on, they're doing that. But The Rock is under the talent agency that Endeavor owns. That I think that this could be Ari Emanuel. Hey, let's do this to see if we can pop this. Now, with Roman Rock at Mania, I'm sorry, that would put some asses in seats. I'm not saying put Rock over, but The Rock versus Roman for some add something with the family in there, would put asses in the seats.
You know what? Actually, it's a fair point, Joe. I think that if there was Rock versus Reigns, would be a good match. Definitely, it would be a draw for fans. But I think, unfortunately, Reigns would be the one who would have to win.
Yeah,
absolutely. You want it. Put it like this: the bloodline has been stretched out too far, and really, this should have happened last year.
Yeah,
this should have happened this year at WrestleMania, but unfortunately, it didn't. So WWE has a choice. They have The Rock. Obviously, they either extend this bloodline storyline or make it that Roman Reigns kind of burns his whole family and says, I am the chief, none of you are. And he basically goes on a big-headed killing spree and wants to be the best. And Rock is going to be the one, I'm legitimately the king here. You got to get to me. And then they'll build up stories. Because let's face it, in promos, oh my God, Roman will be going, ooh, I'm the chief. Meanwhile, freaking The Rock is burning him left to right with the most simplest promos, So
I'm sorry, but it wouldn't be Roman versus Rock promo wise. It'd be Rock Heyman.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, and, yeah.
Roman Reigns has always struggled on the mic, even before he had this whole bloodline, a tribal chief gimmick, which pretty much is what got him over. He always could he was very, very stale and stagnant. As much as I love him, Bret Hart was the same way. Didn't have that charisma. Towards the very end, he started to get the charisma, but for the most part, very dry. But a great wrestler. The Rock has both. He is like the it factor, but, he retired early, which is the smartest thing to do, and he went for the money, which, who could blame him?
Huh?
So.
Well, and the thing is, though, hopefully they come up with a better gimmick than him being in those long cargo pants. They need to reinvent Roman Reigns. The bloodline stuff is done. We've seen it. It's all cute and everything. Now it's done. Roman needs to get away from the Shield look and come up with something that's going to be his from this point if he's going to go in a program with The Rock. And that stupid shit of ooh-wah and I'm the tribal chief and all of this crap. No, it's time for him to literally let's get away from that. Let's do something different. So I'm hoping that with this opportunity that they actually can do something with him that will make sense.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move along. Well, it looks like AEW has announced that they'll be implementing a 12 pay-per-view per year in the year 2024. AEW has already added All In, and also on October 1st, they will have the premiere of Wrestle Dream. Warner Brothers Discovery recently signed a deal with Max, which is similar to HBO Max, but for a $10 add-on with Bleacher Report content, which will be on October 5th. But right now, AEW has not officially been a part of that package, so it looks like if you want to watch WWE, I got that backwards. If you want to watch AEW pay-per-views 1 month, you're gonna have to pay for that one each month. And you know what, Joe? You and I always talked about how the greatest thing about AEW's pay-per-views, how they were spaced out. They got time to build those huge stories, and they still had great TV shows. Now I'm wondering, how is this going to affect the company, Joe?
It's going to kill them. Nobody in this day and age wants to spend money, okay? No one wants to spend money repeatedly, especially with buying it in economics or whatever the fuck he calls it. senile old senior citizens package. Nobody can afford to pay $50, $50, $50, $50 every month. I don't care what you say. It's like that is expensive to be doing that type of deal constantly. And in this case, you're going to burn your talent. It's bad enough that the talent, some of them are flippity flip, killers that want to go out there and work, a ton in high-profile moves. You can't see Kenny Omega beating himself up, or Orange Cassidy or Darby Allin constantly beating themselves up. That's not going to be good for them, because you already see the damage that they do to each other already, and it's hard to really take a guy serious. Like, okay, he can pull out these incredible moves, but he's all bandaged up and taped up. And it's like, he's going to keep doing that every month, because you got to think, not only do they have to do that every month, but they have to do that for Dynamite, Rampage, and even Collision. So somebody's going to get tired of getting beat up, and their talent's really going to get they're going to be like the injury list what WWE faced some time ago.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Lance, your thoughts?
Here's the thing. Could it? No, because that's going to be on. Never mind. Honestly, if they do this, they need to roll back the length of these fucking things a couple of hours, because 6 hours a month is brutal.
Well, I noticed that All Out wasn't as long. All In was like 4 or 5 hours, not including the buy-in. But I think All Out, it was only like 2.5 hours, maybe 3. So yeah. I think it's going to see the major pay-per-views, like Double or Nothing, Revolution and whatnot. Those will be those extra hours. Those will be the long ones. But again, if they start doing this 1 month pay-per-view per month, who's to say? They might just say, you know what, fuck it, we'll just cut it right down. Certain wrestlers might be left out off that one card and then on for the next one. So, it's going to be interesting to see. And unfortunately, there'll be pay-per-views that I won't be purchasing because I want to save my fucking money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Terry 3G said, just like the AEW Fight Forever game expansion, 2 packs of wrestlers with 2 mini games for $12. Nope. Knock $3 off and people will grab them. And you know what? It's a fair point. He also said, yes, I agree. If they keep on pay-per-views for mostly short and sweet, they can work for $12 a year. Or for 12 pay-per-views a year. But again, not for $60 a pop. It's going to be, I hope they work a deal out with Max where they'll do a streaming service like once a month. Then, yeah, I'd pay that $10-15. Why not?
Man, hell, we did it with the network.
Exactly. But I noticed
they'll just have to develop enough content to make it worth that while. Because that's the thing. Even when we talked about WWE when they had their network come out, you have to have enough content to make it worth purchasing. If it wasn't, put it like this, with Paramount Plus or whatever, Peacock, I don't watch the other stuff that's on Peacock. I'm not interested in it. But for WWE, if WWE presented the product they had now, and say, okay, you're gonna get Raw, SmackDown, and that's it, and little bio documentaries on Roman Reigns and Charlotte, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not buying it. The only reason I actually still pay for Peacock is not only the pay-per-views when they come on, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and so forth, but also I like to watch the old content like AWA, World Class, NWA. So if Nick Khan is going to do something like that, then he better make sure that they got enough stuff in there that can keep everybody motivated to keep coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Terry 3G pointed out that, hell, Abaddon would be perfect for a special Halloween pay-per-view in AEW. That would be good, but the thing is, we got to have to see her. I don't even know if she's still with the company.
She is.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's. If you look at her, she's actually, folks, you can look at her on Facebook. She is that and other platforms. She does a lot of indie shows because they rarely use her. Now that AEW Dark and all those shows are gone, they she does indie shows, but she advertises a lot of AEW stuff, so she's still contracted to them. And she commands a hefty price, let me tell you.
Okay. Oh. Well, let's move along. According to reports, Drew McIntyre and LA Knight are not close to settling on money with their new WWE contracts, and that's up at the end of the year. Knight has been moving up the ranks of the WWE and recently had the highest merch sales in the company. And then, of course, you have McIntyre, who's had some highs and lows over the past couple of years. In 2020, he won the WWE Championship, but of course, that was during the pandemic where there was all empty shows. There was all empty houses. And after that, he pretty much, after losing the title, he had some high-profile matches, but never got another title shot or even not got a title victory, so to speak. So, you know what, let's start off with LA Knight. Do you think LA Knight should stay with the company?
I've got to do it. Yeah.
All right. So now, what about Drew McIntyre? There's been rumors that he's going to leave. You know, there's so much different talks about him. We don't know which way is up when it comes to McIntyre.
I normally don't say this because it's something everybody says. He either needs to go one or two places. In either way, I think he can make a huge impact. And no, I don't mean TNA. Either New Japan, because I can choose him just being a psychopathic bastard there, or, and I know everybody says sitting in there, AEW.
Well, you know, AEW is a lot more of a brutal company than WWE.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to the wrestling, you know.
Yeah.
When it comes to the politics, different story. Honestly, I think LA Knight should get pushed more for more money. McIntyre, I guess if he gets the right amount of money, I guess there's no reason for him to stay. Would I like to see him in AEW? I want to say yes because I am a McIntyre fan. But to bring him in would mean that was somebody else from AEW who's going to get cut. So, Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. And again, we keep seeing this. We have this conversation all the time. You know, when you have a worker come from one company to the other, somebody's going to suffer. And unfortunately, you know, if you bring McIntyre, who is a great, phenomenal talent, he is, you know, but I don't think even him, he's going to look down at AEW unless they give him a really good contract. You know, money's a big motivator, especially in this day and age. So if Nick Khan is willing to hit him with it, then obviously that could be a big deal. But honestly, I don't think he's going to ever leave because he's comfortable what he's doing.
I mean, he left one other time.
Well,
yeah, because he wasn't established as he is right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's a different story.
Absolutely, and I have to agree with you on that one, Joe. Terry 3G said, now looking at LA Knight there, he should shave his head and he would be Stone Cold 2.0.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. And then he'll follow it up with McIntyre is one injury away from being crippled. He needs to go somewhere. If he gets a final injury, you know, he might be out for the rest of his life. And that's a good point. But, you know, again, we're going to have to see what happens. You know, money talks. Joe, you've always said money's the biggest improviser. So if they get pushed for the right cash, I don't see either one of them leaving.
You know what? Let me cut in real quick, Rick. Remember, we said the same thing with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash some time ago. You know, money was a big motivator for them making that humongous jump. So that's unfortunately this day and age. You know, there's people who would like to be loyal to the product, but the product is not the product anymore.
Fair point. All right. And for those of you who are interested, Haas of Wrestling is reporting that CM Punk has no interest in filing any lawsuit with the AEW. Good. That's, of course, regarding to his being fired earlier this month. Punk went on record and said that he's relieved from all the day-to-day drama in the company. Well, you know what? I think I can say that I'm relieved that Punk is gone. And I can say that the company is probably so much better, and I'm sure a lot of people are glad to see him gone. And that was just a quick one. Joe, let me ask you real quick. Do you even think Punk had a leg to stand on for a lawsuit?
No, absolutely not. Especially if the overwhelming evidence is there to show that he's the main troublemaker. He was probably trying to figure out a way to. If he came up with that and said, this is what's going to happen. He's kidding himself because everybody's going to look at him like, no, you're the one that started this. So they brought him in on the good faith. Let's say that. They wanted to help bring him back to wrestling, which they did. They brought him back. He came into the company. He did a lot. He became a champion. So, unfortunately, his own bad habits is what took him out. So, he has no one to blame but himself. And then Ace Steel or whatever the guy's name is, he's another one. He's a no name. So, what good is he? So, honestly, that's why I said, it's Punk served this time. He could have done more if he would have just remember his rookie roots. Shut up, do your job, and don't cause waves.
All right, Lance, any thoughts you want to tap into on this one?
I don't think Punk has a leg to stand on. I do think Ace Steel does. Because, okay, hear me out on this one. Yeah, Punk got fired for something that happened at All Out. Okay. Ace Steel got fired for nothing.
I think they just let him go after the fact because he was Punk's friend. They was trying to keep Punk happy.
Exactly. Which he might have a suit say, yeah, they fired me because I'm this guy's friend. Yeah. That could be grounds for wrongful termination.
Anyway, yeah, but again, I don't even see Ace Steel filing a lawsuit. Real quick, Terry 3G said, again, he needs to stay with the acting gig, which is referring to Punk. He has played a role on heels. Speaking of which, heels have been a great, better written than WWE's ever done in the same time span. If WWE needs to hire those writers for the show.
Hey, they ain't doing anything right now. I mean, SAG-AFTRA and the World Writers Guild of America.
All right. Moving along. Now, legendary wrestler Kevin Sullivan recently talked about Cody Rhodes' time in WWE, and he said how it would be a great idea for him to never win the championship. Sullivan went on to talk about how Cody left the company, made a name for himself, and came back a star. And Sullivan said that if Cody did win the WWE championship, he would almost look like a corporate champion rather than a natural champion. Lance, your thoughts on that one?
2 words. Bullshit.
All right. Joe, now, could you really see Cody Rhodes coming back and not winning any kind of championship? And what are your thoughts about Kevin Sullivan's statements?
No, he will have to win the major belt. He needs. That's part of his legacy. That's the reason he dumped his old company now, his own company that he was part of. Even though Nick Khan owns it, he was one of the founders. To come back to deal with this, he has to come and get at least a world title, because that's the only title his dad has never held. Cody has won the NWA championship for whatever it's worth. So he has won that like his dad. So now he wants to win that one elusive belt that his dad never had. So I think he will win it. He won't be, I'm going to go on record, he's not going to be any sort of God, how can I make
long-reigning champion like Roman Reigns?
Yeah, he'll be a transitional champion. So that's what's going to happen with Cody.
Yeah, and you know what? Unfortunately, I have to agree. I mean, I love Cody Rhodes. I'm a huge fan of Cody, and even on WWE, unfortunately now he's kind of like that sugar-coated Cody Rhodes, as opposed to like the Cody Rhodes that we grew up in, that I loved over in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and of course in AEW. You know, uh, but he actually stayed to his word. He said he would never win the AEW championship if he didn't get a shot at it, and he stuck to his word at least for 4 years, or 2 years or whatever it was time. So, and I think that's pretty much it for the main topics. But we did talk earlier about Randy Orton, who's been seen working out in the WWE's Performance Center, and it's not sure, guys, if he should return to wrestling. You know, he's still a young guy, but he's had so many injuries over the years. He's had rotator cuff injuries, and now he just had back fusion surgery. And Lance, you and I were talking about that and how all you have to do is get one bad bump and you're crippled.
Yeah. Now, I ain't sure if he's preparing for a comeback or because he's been out 18, 19 months, something like that.
Somewhere around that neighborhood.
They could be because the doctors have said he shouldn't come back.
Well, in all fairness, most doctors
said he wants to. This could be them saying, "All right, Orton, let's put your back to the test." This could be the up down for Randy Orton, whether he has to retire or not.
Yeah. Well, if you remember when Daniel Bryan had to retire from the WWE, all of their doctors would say, "Nope, you're not cleared to wrestle." Even though he went to two other alternate doctors and they both said he could wrestle. So, but if Orton is still getting these doctors saying, "No, don't wrestle again, you're done," he might just have to do that. Joe, again, he's Orton over Performance Center. Could he just be doing stress testing, working out, or is this a sign of him coming back?
No, that could be exactly that. He's testing out his limits. He's probably doing light work because you don't want to rush in and try to attempt an RKO out of nowhere. He wants to probably test it. If he does a move and it really seriously hurts his back, that's not something that you want to really gamble your life on because you want to be able to hold your kids up. You want to be able to hold your grandkids up someday. To go through all of this and legitimately one move, and if doctors are telling you don't do it, then that should be an indicator that you're more serious. But this shows to me one thing, Rick. Again, we're back to the cycle. WWE does not have any valuable talent that can actually attract you. So when they have to use someone like Randy Orton, The Rock, and other people to make comebacks, that shows to me that they're not faithful. They're not really, how should I say this, depending on their current talent roster. So I think Randy, at this point, should not jeopardize it. If he wants to maybe do what is called marquee matches, like once in a while come in, take a few bumps with a light opponent, maybe work out something with, I don't know, too bad the Singh brothers are not around. He can kill them all the time. But, if he can do something where he's not going to kill himself, I said Randy can come back. But honestly, I think right now, if you look at it, this is a situation he could be crippled for life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think honestly, Randy could be doing a lot more behind the scenes. He still has a lot to offer for the industry. He doesn't necessarily have to wrestle. And if he does wrestle, it's got to be on a very part-time basis. I'm talking like Undertaker part-time basis. Terry 3G said WWE obviously pays the doctors well to make sure that no one ends up like Draws, rest in peace, and others that have one and a half ass injuries that is done and the books till he passes out and whatnot. It's not like the WWF of old where you could have a leg hanging out and it's like, okay, you can still wrestle. Today's world.
Let me throw this in there.
Go ahead.
Let me throw this in there. The main thing here is the biggest thing of all time, liability. This is not WWE, like you said, this is not WWE of old, where the guys took it upon themselves to wrestle. You know, oh yeah, we can easily do that. Don't worry, yeah. You know, this is a situation where they're the ones that are putting their lives on the line. So I think with a lot of lawsuits that they get, with a lot of the situations that we've seen, honestly, I think liability more than anything else is the biggest factor for them saying, nope, we're not going to do this right now.
You know what? I absolutely agree with you. And, you know, it's smart for the company to do that, to look out for themselves. I want to go on to one last topic. We've all heard the rumors about Edge, about leaving WWE and possibly, very unlikely, going to AEW. But Chris Jericho on a recent was a guest on Superstar Crossover, and he was asked about the rumors. And Jericho stated that when he was in the WWE, he's always fighting the same guys over and over and over. And while some of the guys from the WWE are in AEW, there's still a lot of great talent that Edge could work with and create some new stories. Lance, your thoughts?
I mean, there are. I mean, hell, his best friend from when they were kids is there, Christian. But here's the thing. If Edge was going to come to AEW, he would have already been there by now.
I agree. I don't see it happening, but Joe, like I said, Jericho made a few interesting points.
Well, you know, you sit back and remember, I don't think Edge is going to do that unless, again, Nick Khan meets the certain price range that he wants. And you got to think also, Edge might want his wife to come with him and get a paycheck. And Beth Phoenix is another one who, you know, can draw. She don't have to wrestle, but she still got the looks. You know, you can get her. But honestly, I think we're looking at a scenario here where Edge is, to this point, he's another guy who's broken down, and he's going to come into a company where he's going to take a spot from somebody else, maybe rekindle a couple of feuds with Jericho, Daniel Bryan, you know, with Moxley or something like that. Yeah, I don't want to see Brokeback Shaggy in an AEW product. I want to see
him. Scoob.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, freaking his Scooby will be freaking Christian. So, you know, just because the Hardys are there doesn't mean they're going to rekindle their tables, ladders, and chairs match, even though I could see Nick Khan trying to do that. And
you mean Tony Khan?
Tony Khan, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can see Tony Khan's, one of the fucking Khans. Thank you, come again.
They're all con men.
Yeah, they're all con men. You know, I honestly could see them just all getting together and saying, yeah, you know what? I could see them doing the table, ladders, and chairs at their age. Sure, they'll be crippled at the end, but fuck them. You know, but no. Edge, retire. Do your last run. You did a run already. You did something. You helped push Judgment Day. Let's move on to something else.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and like I said, when Edge first came back, I thought it was great, but it was quickly like, okay, now Edge, go away, go back to retirement. You know, it was horrible because even his like spears, it's like he wasn't running, he was jogging. It was like almost like a power walk into a spear.
Yeah.
What the hell? You want him to cripple half the talent today?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and plus he probably couldn't make that much speed anyway. I gotta say, I did pop when he did the Gangrel entrance, the Brood entrance.
Oh yeah.
So I'll say this, I did pop for that. I think that was a really cool thing. So besides that, I don't think anybody else is really interested in watching Brokeback Shaggy come back and him going and say, yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, we're gonna do this. Yeah, but
Terry
no.
3G made an interesting point. He said if Edge comes out to AEW, you should keep it like Sting, where he's more of a promoter, or he's pushing somebody under, he's pushing a certain wrestler. That would be a great idea.
Yeah.
But again,
No, it's oversaturated. You have Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson. You have Sting. You have too many people already mentoring guys. We don't need another person. Imagine, okay, let's say this. Here comes the Pyro. Here comes, I don't know, the best person.
I gotta cut you off. Hold on. Terry 3G said, Edge and Christian versus the Hardys in a Tables, Walkers, and Canes match.
Damn.
That was classic. I love that one. That was a nice one.
It probably will end up in that. Think of it like this. Okay, Jungle Boy. We all like Jungle Boy. We think he's a phenomenal talent, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, let's really look at the situation here and say, okay, Jungle Boy, great worker, great. He comes out with Edge, okay? Now, here he comes out with his whatever music and whatnot, and Tarzan Boy. That's all nice, and then here comes Edge, boom, 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 with the music and pyro, and who are you going to pay attention more to?
Edge.
Yeah, exactly. So now you're defeating the purpose of having this guy come.
He would have to come out as Adam Copeland. I think he would have to come out with a completely different gimmick. And again, this is all hypothetical in an unlikely situation. So for him to do that, he would come in just as Adam Copeland, and just be a manager. And I don't think, that would work for him. Speaking of which, and not to mention, Edge is going to be starring in the upcoming Perry Jackson and the Olympians series on Disney. So he's going to be playing Ares, the god of war, in a recurring role. So far, I think there's 8 episodes in this miniseries, and it's going to premiere on December 20th. So we know what Edge is doing now. He's not going to AEW. He's going to Disney. Yep.
Edge is a perfect guy to do Viking stories. He's got the look. He's got that, like, barbarian type look, the raggedness and all that. So he'll be good for that. And I'm not making fun of Edge. I think that's when he did that other, what was it, that TV show?
I don't remember it, but I know which one you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Edge had that great, he had that position that he can be, okay, you know what, he had that look, and I said, hey, you know what, yeah, I think Edge can do that type of roles. I know it had to have been a Viking show. It had to have been some sort of Viking show that he did. I can't remember exactly what it was.
All right, one last topic of the night. Wrestling legend Stevie Richards critiqued Nia Jax's spots on her return match for the WWE.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, well, he pointed out how she botched the Samoan backdrop on Raquel Rodriguez, and then a Yokozuna bomb on Rhea Ripley. Now, the first thing he said, he talked about the Samoan backdrop. He goes, a Samoan backdrop is the easiest move. He goes, what you do is you take them, and the way you drop them, you should drop them a certain way. She just falls back, and uses her as a cushion. And he goes, oh my God, he goes, that's got to break somebody's back. And then when he pointed out to the match with Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley, she goes, okay, so she goes to the corner. She goes all the way to the top, and she bounces. I thought she was going to do a Vader bomb, but instead she did the Yokozuna bomb. And what does she do? She jumps all the way as high as she can and lets go. If you've seen Yokozuna or anybody else do the same bomb, they hold on to the ropes.
And they actually drop on their knees first.
Yes, exactly.
They position themselves that their feet take the brunt of it, and then they bring themselves down very. So Earthquake, John Tenta, he was great for doing that. You could tell he didn't squash anybody because he did he landed and then sat down, you could say. So Nia Jax, I don't know why the fuck she's back. Who the fuck wants this fat Twinkie back? You know, obviously, again, they're trying to grasp straws and say, let's bring the girl back. You know, she should have stayed in modeling. She's a very decent looking woman. She has a very pretty face, but wrestling is not her forte. And honestly, she needs to step away, get away from wrestling. She can't cut it in that. And before she really injures someone. God forbid, imagine if she really does injure someone. Like a Rhea Ripley or somebody. And there's a fight in the back.
Joe, funny you say that. When she fucked up the bonsai drop, Rhea Ripley has broken ribs now.
No, she does not. That's a storyline.
Oh, okay.
That is a storyline because she actually was taking time. She planned on taking time off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, yeah. Although, I hate to say it, I wouldn't be surprised if they broke her ribs, but...
I mean, with the impact, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, if you look at that video, you can find it on YouTube. She botched coming down.
It's actually linked on our Facebook page.
Yeah, exactly. And Rick, you want to tell everybody where they can go to see that?
Of course, that's Facebook.com in the group section, Wrestling Rants. So, for those of you
promotions there for us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I'd love to thank both Joe and Lance for hanging out with us and each and every week. And, of course, I'd like to thank Terry 3G, our #1 fan, for coming on and giving his thoughts for the show. Joe, you're over at Skull and Realms. Tell everybody about it.
You know, I finally have time tonight to do my Rolling Thunder video game. Now I'm blank right now. Rolling Thunder review. If anybody knows, it started as an arcade game, and they ported it to different consoles, Nintendo, Atari, and whatnot. So I'm gonna give that a shot tonight. I'm gonna see how that goes. But so you can check me out. Do the hashtag Scourge's Realm. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So I'll be doing that actually tonight around 10 o'clock. So definitely check it out. I played the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Rick. I don't know if you tried that.
I have not.
It's
sucks.
It's more the same like playing Grand Theft Auto graphics. No, I'm sorry, not that. It's like playing Dead by Daylight. It's just the same thing. Resident Evil Resistance. If you ever play that online game, that's what it reminds me of. So if you never played it, definitely check Resident Evil Resistance. So it's not as cracked up to be. I'd rather play Dead by Daylight with the character, that Leatherface or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Speaking of video games, Diablo 4 came out, and I almost wanted to buy it, but my son, he actually got it temporarily, and he was pissed because you need to have a 1-year subscription online to play. It's an online game. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, fuck that. And I looked to see maybe if it was on Steam. Not on Steam, so it's kind of interesting. So I was looking forward to it, but I guess that's a game I'm going to have to pass up. Lance, you over at Lance Moss TV. What do you got going on over there?
Well, right now it's just every Tuesday night we go live on Lance Moss TV and Friends. Coffee time at 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern, and we shoot the shit for roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours.
All right, and there you have it. So for the Hardcore Crew, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.
Brother shirt.